All right, well, somebody's going to be taking some responsibilities later. Okay. I don't handle that lately. All right. Reverend Anthony, please come up to accept your award. And I just need to remind you that Reverend Anthony, it's not in the playbook at your tables because that was announced after, but he is our keynote speaker. We're so blessed to have him because this brother is the most dynamic speaker in this country. I tell you, he is the most dynamic speaker. We appreciate you, Reverend, to doing our keynote speaker tonight. I appreciate you, man.
Well, I guess I'm the video, so you can see me. Assalamu alaikum. Bismillah. Good evening, my brothers and sisters. I just want to say that I may take a few moments because Nabi asked me to do a keynote. It's not in your program, so I don't want you to think I'm out of order and that I don't know how to act on programs. I do. But I'm just being appropriate. I know also folk want to eat, and I know there's plenty of food here. It's not going anywhere, and none of us are starving. None of us are starving, like many of our brothers and sisters all around the world. Can we give God a hand because we are blessed to be a blessing? I want to thank Attorney Nabi Ayad, who is the founder of the ACRL. Give him a hand. That requires vision, work, money, time, and energy. Or you can do better than that because he's fighting when many of you are sleeping. Give him a hand. I want to acknowledge the board of directors of the ACRL. I want to thank the staff and supporters of this organization here in Michigan with this mind stayed on freedom and justice. To all of the political leaders who are here, business and community leaders, I greet you on behalf of the Detroit branch of the NAACP, the largest branch of the NAACP in the nation, and also my church, Fellowship Chapel, where I've been privileged to serve for 35 years this year as pastor. To all of these mayoral awardees, Mayor Bill Bazzi, City of Dearborn Heights, Mayor Amir Ghali, City of Hamtramck, Mayor Pierre Boutros of Birmingham, and of course Mayor Abdullah Hamoud of Dearborn, my sincere congratulations to all of you. I must also give acknowledgement to my family that is here tonight. The Bible says in the 5th commandment that we should honor our mothers and our fathers so that our days shall be long upon the earth. I believe in that. The Quran also says, we have commanded people to be good to their parents. Their mothers carried them with strain upon strain, and it takes 2 years to wean them. Give thanks to me and to your parents, all will return to me. So in that spirit, I want to recognize my mama, who was 90 years of age, who is here tonight. Stand up, give her a hand. That's my mama. When you applaud her, you applaud your own mama. Give your mamas a hand. 90 years young, and she's still going strong. 90 years young, and she's with my brothers and members of my family who all there. I want to acknowledge them. I also want to acknowledge my wife and one of my 4 daughters, Wendell, Anthony, and my wife, Monica Anthony, were sitting right here in the front. I want to acknowledge them and to thank them for their support and all of the things that they do, referencing me and the endeavors that I have. We are here tonight, not because Nasser Beydoun makes good jokes, but we are here tonight to declare liberty and justice for all. Not for some, not for a few, not for certain selections or of certain racial or ethnic demographic, but simply liberty and justice, protecting the civil rights for everybody. Part of the mission statement of the ACRL declares that you will protect the civil rights of ethnic minorities, promote awareness, dispel negative stereotypes associated with Arab Americans, work with federal, state, and local authorities to educate and promote positive policies and governance. You also promote cross-cultural and interfaith cooperation between the Arab American community and its neighbors. Certainly, I am one of your neighbors. A few years ago, I would not have been standing here talking about liberty and justice in the middle of Dearborn. Years ago, these mayors would not be sitting as mayors of Dearborn and Dearborn Heights and other cities along with you out there lifting up civil and human rights and equal justice for all. Yet we have emerged. We have expanded our reach and increased our impact. We are in fact greater than we perceive ourselves and deeper than we can imagine ourselves to be. The great philosopher, Islamic scholar, writer, and mystic Jalaluddin Rumi once said, "You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop." We are the ocean. We are the victims. And in many cases, but we must also be the victors in every case. Dr. King reminds us that an injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We are all caught up in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied together in a single garment of destiny. Beloved, we are caught up in certain situations and certain conditions. We are caught up because that network is freedom and that garment is justice. We are caught up in certain situations and certain conditions that cry out for our intervention and our engagement. America is at a crossroad. We will either cling and hold fast to our democracy or surrender to the demagogues who are calling for an autocracy. We can either go forward as a nation or we can go to greater heights as a people of opportunity and equity for all, or we can go back to a time of economic selectivity and political particularity for a few. There are 39 bills in the Michigan legislature right now that are designed to take our vote, steal our access to the ballot box, and push back the progress that all of us have made. We all have made, even when they know there is no evidence of voter fraud, mass cheating, or corruption at the voting booth or the drop boxes. 2020 has been declared not by us, not by you, but by professional canvassers, secretaries of state, and the director of cybersecurity for the United States of America, Christopher Krebs, who said the 2020 election was the most secure in the history of the United States of America. He said, "We did a good job. We did it right. I'd do it 1,000 times over as one whose ancestors and forefathers and mothers fought to get off the plantation. I am not one who's ready to surrender my voting rights, my economic rights, my civil rights, my religious rights, my travel rights, my housing rights, my educational rights, my very birthright to go back to a plantation that did nothing for my personal elevation. I don't know about you, I ain't going back. I hope you ain't going back as well to any situation that brings you down as opposed to maintains you and lifts you up." The poet Langston Hughes said it well, "Oh, let America be America again, the land that has never been, and yet must be the land where every man is free." You see, we did not need a study commission by Michigan State University to indicate to us that the Michigan State Police, that they were stopping and frisking and arresting black and brown people much more so than any other group in the state. We in our community knew that from going to any suburban court on a Monday morning prior to COVID-19 and seeing who is standing in line waiting for their hearing before the judge, hoping to get a reprieve, hoping that the officers don't show up so the case can be dismissed, hoping to get a reduction in their fine, and hoping to get no points on their licenses. We have known that for years, not only by our color, but also by the braids in our hair and the size of our frame. It was just a couple of Fridays ago, on March 18th, that the House of Representatives passed the Crown Act. The Crown Act. It would prohibit hair based on discrimination. If that hair texture or that hairstyle is commonly associated with a particular race or national origin, it included hair which is tightly coiled or tightly curled, locks, cornrows, twists, braids, bantu knots, or afros. This is part of the reason why we have a problem getting on the highest court of the land a woman by the name of Ketanji Brown Jackson from Harvard 2 times as an undergrad and as a grad, who is more qualified than most of the people who are currently sitting there. That after 124 years, we just signed into law the Immaterial Anti-Lynching Act to make it a federal hate crime to lynch somebody. President Biden said at the signing, over the years, several federal hate crime laws were enacted, including one I signed just last year to combat COVID-19 hate crimes. But no federal law expressly prohibited lynching. None until today, March 29, 2022. You see, my brothers and sisters, we still have a problem in 2022, trying to get people to see the real you. The question is, what do we do about it? How do we change it? John Johnson, the new executive director of the Michigan Department of Civil Rights, how do we change it? You in the Arab American community have known for years that women wearing a hijab, men wearing a keffiyeh, or simply bearing the name Ibrahim, Yusuf, Khalil, Omar, Nabi, Muhammad can be stopped or watched while flying Arab, driving while Arab, walking and talking while Arab. Well, welcome to the club. It's not one that we asked to join. It's one that we have been enrolled in without our permission. You see, the question is, what do we do about it? And how do we change it? That's why you must fight, ACRL, for justice. You must fight to preserve your civil rights. You see, I support the efforts of our nation, listen, to defend and protect the rights of Ukrainians. Vladimir Putin is a tyrant, a demagogue, and a gangster. He is not a genius, he is not smart, and he's not brilliant, as Donald John Trump and Mike Pompeo have declared. I believe, just as the lady with the lamp, who still stands in the harbor of New York as a symbol of our freedom and justice, with broken chains of enslavement lying at her feet. I don't know if you've ever looked at the feet of the Statue of Liberty, but if you look down, there are broken chains of enslavement lying at her feet. I believe, just as she said when she proclaimed in 1886, to give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses, yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. This is one of the greatest declarations of humanity the world over. The only problem is, sometimes I wonder who she's talking to. So yes, while I support military aid, I support humanitarian aid, I support economic sanctions, and even refugees coming to America, I cannot support that without calling for equity for the 88,000 Africans that are also trapped in Ukraine, from Nigeria, from Egypt, from Ethiopia, studying engineering and medicine, many living in Ukraine who were pushed back and kept out and told they can't get on the train to get to freedom and security, but you can grab a weapon and fight to protect our liberty. I have a problem with that. You see, when I support refugees fleeing destruction in Ukraine, I also support refugees from Haiti, from Central and South America, from Mexico, from Syria, from Yemen, and from the Middle East. If we can find money and work around immigration laws, if we are not using Title 42 as a public health blockade to prevent refugees, possibly with communicable diseases, from entering the United States from Ukraine in the north and the east, we should not be using it to prevent those who are seeking the same security, the same refuge, the same guarantees from Mexico, except for Ukrainians in the south and the west. We cannot just make exceptions for Ukrainians and hold fast to deception for everybody else. God has made of one blood all nations of people to dwell upon the earth. This ain't got nothing to do with critical race theory. It has got everything to do with the critical American racial reality. It's about justice, not just us. It's about policies, programs, and political leadership that benefits everybody, not just a select few. That's who you must vote for. That's why you must vote like your lives depended upon it. Assistant Secretary of State Hester Wheeler, that's why we must work, because quite frankly, our lives depend upon it. That's why ACRL, you must advocate. That's why Osama, you must proclaim in your newspapers and defend the constitutional and civil rights of the Arab community and those who are in the same situation as you are. This is why you must monitor and scrutinize defamatory material on the internet and every other net that seems to develop you in a scheme of confusion and division. So ACRL, Nabiya Yah, Nasser Badoon, Board of Directors, City of Dearborn, Arabs, African Americans, everybody else that want to join us, we must keep educating, keep advocating, keep monitoring, keep adjudicating, keep uplifting, keep securing, keep defending the cause of justice, the cause of unity, and the cause of liberty. For we are not what we ought to be until our people everywhere are what they should be. Free people, respected and protected by God, the Constitution, our civil rights, our human dignity, until we can all sing with confident voices and sing with uplifted voices the sweet melody of a blessed assurance. My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing, land where our fathers died, land of the pilgrims and everybody else's pride. From every mountain side, let freedom ring. That is why you fight. That's why you have the dinner. That's why we work. 10 years, Nabi, is only the beginning. The struggle for justice is continuing now more than ever before. Thank you, Shukra Katir. Thank you very much for listening.
Can we get Dean? Can we get you up here, please? Rev?
I hate the next person that's going to come after Reverend speak, but sorry, mayors. We'd like to present you this award of appreciation on behalf of the ACRL for all the work that you do on our behalf and on the behalf of our community and your community. Thank you, Reverend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Reverend, are you sure you don't want to finish the show for me? I have a fire in my heart. I'm inspired. I want to make things happen.